We look to the heavens for hope, guidance in a world of uncertainty. Within our universe, a mighty star shines bright over us and reflects itself to enlighten our darkness. It is from that star that our very molecules are born, boundless and bright. That mighty star commands a universe of stars that bear witness to our history and are attached to our ideas of the future. In these stars, we find our beginnings. In these stars, we learn of our endings.
Stacy, the Black Feather Intuitive. Welcome to Black Feather Intuitive and In the Stars with Dwayne. Dwayne, how the hell have you been?
Oh my God, I'm so excited. I can't believe it is this time of year. This is my favorite time of year. And of course, the Libras are so much fun. We've been partying all month. I
Oh,
mean,
yay!
it's been great. And the moon is doing amazing things. Like, I can't even believe how lucky we are to be alive at this time. Going into Scorpio, it's time for passion, also mysteriousness and craziness. And I actually learned something. Want to hear something cool?
Yes, do
So,
tell.
it's funny because what I learned was this overall thing about the Bible and astrology, about how the Bible, there was a rabbi who someone asked him, did Jesus really live, whatever. And the rabbi said, the Bible is just a kind of a manuscript of ideas that come from the basis of natural reality. And so the Son of God is actually the sun, and it makes its way from the horizon 12 steps up and 12 steps down. That's the 12 apostles and the 12 houses, the 12 signs.
Oh, wow.
And the thing that I learned, one interesting thing that I learned today was that Scorpio, which we're going into now, the reason that they call it the kiss of death is because in the Middle East, when a scorpion stings you, it's got two stingers and it makes what looks like lips when it stings you. So that's why they call it the kiss of death. And so that is why we're in Scorpio. We're going into Scorpio, which is the kiss of death to the sun, which means the sun goes, to the southern hemisphere for the winter. So isn't
Right.
that amazing how everything kind of like connects and goes together? It's
Wow.
I
unreal.
like how you just roped me into my holiday season with the kiss of death. Thanks.
You're welcome. I am the Prince of Darkness in many ways.
Oh, that's fascinating. Dwayne, I had no idea. And, I do believe a lot that, you know, and I'm probably going to offend people, and I don't mean to
Oh,
offend
please
anybody
do.
here.
You always get better ratings that way.
Just my opinion on things is a lot of these sort of religious stories and allegories and fables, they really are all commingled in those ways. And I feel that, it is the rise of the divine feminine for equality, not because divine feminine is going to take over, but for equality. And I feel that as a result of that, a lot of the beliefs, the experiences that have been squashed for centuries are now also coming to light.
Yeah,
So, that story that you learned, I think that's absolutely gorgeous, because the sun is what keeps us, it gives us life on the planet, right? It keeps things going, photosynthesis, and it keeps all the stuff going and growing. And that makes so much sense when you look at the stories of the Bible. It's not the son of God, the
right.
divine masculine, and being the boss, and
But in a
all
sense, it is. In a sense, it is because it's in the heavens and it
the
shines
sun.
down upon us. It
Yes.
comes in on a cloud and it leaves on a cloud, is what it says in the Bible. It's crazy when you
Wow.
really make that connection. And
It's
if you go back far enough, everything starts from that one idea from the main humans, let's say, on Earth, which I believe were in Somalia in Africa. They looked at that sun and everything, and they developed this, and then all of the religions kind of became offshoots of that. So
yeah.
everything that's a major religion goes back to this basic idea, which is basically what we would think of as paganism.
Yes.
So it's
100%.
very interesting. And I know sometimes people don't want readings from me. I'm sure you get this too, because they're religious or because they're Catholic or whatever, and I totally respect it. and I
Yeah.
don't push. It's like karaoke. I don't think anybody should have to do karaoke. It could be terrifying and, triggering or whatever. So you don't go put somebody's name in and have them called up and sing. That's an asshole move, I think.
Agreed.
Same thing with this, but it
Oh,
makes
wait, hold on. Pause. Question.
yeah.
Bigger asshole move, randomly putting your friend in for karaoke
Mhm.
or asking someone to marry you at a baseball or football stadium where they're under that pressure to not embarrass you by saying no.
Well, I think, you could say yes and then say no later and say, because you put me in that,
Right, exactly.
that's why I said yes, but now I'm saying no. You can annul the engagement.
You
That's
can, but
always what I think too when those situations come up. I'm like, you really took a risk. I hope you really know your partner, because I mean, them's fighting words. But you're right.
okay,
That's
now
exactly how
we
I look at
solved
it too.
it, but still the question is still which one is a bigger dick move?
Um, I think,
Ooh.
I think what do you think, Stacey?
I think the karaoke
Yeah.
for the most part, because I think the other thing is based on, unless you're dating a narcissist who's trying to manipulate you into some bullshit. I
Which is
think for the
likely.
most part, there's good intention behind that. There's a yes, I want to impress you, and I want you to know how special you are, and so I'm gonna do this big public thing because I'm looking for the story.
Yeah,
So
it's kind of nice. I mean, but it does. I mean, you are putting then someone's in front of thousands of people, probably, and they're going to put that camera on you too.
yeah,
So
that's
everybody's going
that's the part that's shitty, because it's like you
yeah.
can't live that down, but you can't live karaoke down either.
Well, but
So
see, I think karaoke is meant to be bad. I hate when people get up and they're so freaking good. I'm like, nobody wants to hear you be perfect like Faith Hill or something.
Oh
Everybody
yeah,
wants to see you
that's
completely screw up.
you're right. That's extremely annoying when you have really good singers come to karaoke. I'm like, this is supposed to be our space, the people who can't sing.
Right. And see, that's why, and it's the American way. As Americans, we want everybody to fall down so that they can get back up. We don't like it when you're all up all the time. So that's why I tell people, when you do karaoke, fuck up the first two lines and you'll be fine. Then they're on your side the whole way. Even if you can sing, mess up those first two lines and you will get that whole crowd with you the entire way.
Nice.
that's just talking about it. Honestly, so you guys are gonna laugh at me, because what I did for a living for so many years, and where my schooling background is and everything. I was an opera singer, so I was a professional singer. I got paid big bucks to sing all over the place. Karaoke, that, like, I want to vomit in my mouth and I break out in hives thinking about it, because that stressed me out so much, because I was in that space. Like, I couldn't just relax and let go. Like, everything had to be perfection. And I was the girl that I would sing something and I'd sing it in like an opera voice and it's not the right place. And I'd be like, oh my God, like, I just don't want to do this. Like, I just make it stop. Like, don't put me up there. There was so much stage fright and so much stuff going on. Yeah, I hate karaoke.
And the Virgo in you makes you want to perfect it, but you don't want to mess it up. You want it to be perfect.
Exactly.
And that must be, and so we know moving forward, whenever Stacey says something about a diaphragm, she's not talking about birth control.
Right.
Whenever
Or
you hear
maybe
me
I
say
could be,
well
you
hung,
never know.
whenever you hear me say well hung, I'm talking about pictures on the wall, okay?
Good to know. Good to know, Dwayne. Good to know. Oh my God. Too funny. Well, that just shows you where my wounds are. I just revealed to you my wounds, that I was like, because Keone, you brought up a good point. What's the bigger asshole move? I'm like karaoke, but the obvious one is forcing the whole world to see you on this big Tronema, whatever it is called. And it's because I'm traumatized by karaoke.
Well, you know what? Speaking of asshole moves, actually, this is probably the universe getting me to bring this out to the public because I think it's important. I think the most asshole move I've been seeing lately has been these young people in jobs on their phone. Like I was at a store the other day, and this young kid who was supposed to be helping me, it was a UPS store or something. He said, "Oh, I'll go get some help for you," because he didn't know the answer. So he goes and gets somebody, tells them there's somebody that needs help, and then starts talking on his phone, and then notices I could see him, and he goes, somebody's coming, and then goes back down and is like looking at TikTok or something. I'm like, what the hell? And so young people just have no clue. They
Well,
just have
wait,
no clue how
pause.
life is.
In young people's defense, Dwayne, some of the things that are plaguing young people are plaguing everybody. I'm talking
Yeah.
about just about 9 years ago when I used to manage a dental clinic on Fort Hood, and there's a dentist working on a patient, and his assistant, as he keeps asking her for things, she's in her phone, and I had to let her have it, and she's 52 years old. So
Oh
it's not
Lord.
just a young thing, it's just everyone's getting too stuck to their technology and their phone. I have to actually make times where I just put my phone in a different room than I'm in so that I won't be in it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, unless it's Mercury in retrograde, which this month, by the way, we have 3 planets in retrograde.
Oh,
So we may not be able to use your devices all of November.
So Jupiter, I think Jupiter's retrograde. What else is going retrograde this month?
Let's see. So we've got Jupiter, Uranus, and Neptune.
Mm. So
Yeah,
Uranus in
Neptune.
retrograde is actually, I would think, a good thing because it means that
It
its
is.
effects are not as intense. All of that. I think of Uranus as the Tower card in tarot. So it's kind of like, okay, the perspectives come, but they don't come with completely destroying don't throw the baby out with the bathwater kind of thing.
Yeah, no, I think the majority of these, I mean, it's not like it's really Mercury in retrograde, but that's what we do sometimes in comedy. We take whatever's there to try to make a joke, and it doesn't really mean anything. I had to say this the other day. I did a comedy show the other night, and I said some bad stuff, but you have to say stuff sometimes to get the audience reaction. I always tell people comedy is not about people liking the comedian, it's about the comedian's job is to pull you out of your miserable life for an hour and a half or whatever. So it's not whether you like them or not. Even if you hate them, you're not thinking about your bills, your problems, your husband, blah blah blah. You know what I
Right.
mean? So so yeah, overall I was lying. Neptune and Uranus are not bad. Jupiter even itself, I mean, that could be something to do with success and that kind of stuff, maybe pulling back, but that doesn't have to be negative either. That can be like take a look at your career, take a look at what your path is and that kind of thing. So these retrogrades aren't really that bad this month.
Thank God.
Yeah, we're already moved into Scorpio, opposite Uranus in Taurus. So that's also another great thing. Taurus and Scorpio are like, I don't know if you noticed this ever, but Tauruses and Scorpios, they make the best couples, and I see them all over. I see so many Tauruses and Scorpios together. It's
And
unbelievable.
aren't they opposite in the wheel, the
Yeah,
astrology wheel?
yeah, and they work. It's just like Virgo and Pisces. Virgo and Pisces is really good.
Really?
Yeah,
Interesting.
yeah,
I
because
laugh
they,
at that only because I have a 12th house sun. And so there's so much war that goes on inside of me. I can't imagine the having a lot of that because I already have so much of that Pisces sort of reflection. I can't imagine having that in a partner. But that's interesting that they make. So is it kind of like the opposites attract, or it's kind of like there's
yeah,
just a lot of complementary because they're on polar opposite sides of the wheel?
I think that's how it seems to be. Like, like for instance, with the Scorpio and the Taurus, you've got earth and you've got water. Total opposites. One's more about emotion, one's more about practicality and earthbound kind of things. So what happens is the earthbound person really appreciates the availability of emotions from the water sign. And the water sign really appreciates the stability and the practicality of the earth sign. And so it's also like a cup and water. Without the cup, the water kind of goes everywhere,
Right.
but the cup holds it together. And so they end up going in together like that. It's the same thing with Pisces and Virgo. It's earth and water. And so each kind of appreciates the other's thing that is not so strong in them.
Interesting. So it's kind of a symbiotic experience.
Yeah.
That's so cool. I do have a question about today, and I was hoping that maybe we
Yeah.
could do readings around this. So we are getting ready. We've got 3 days left, and we're going to be in our lunar eclipse. And
Mm.
eclipses for this eclipse season have been very significant, very profound in so many ways. I know the solar eclipse, there's been a lot of stuff that's been coming up. And the way I sort of see it is the solar eclipse, it's really about what you're releasing from an external perspective, you know, your external world. And now the lunar is going to be more of the internal world. But can you give us some background and maybe some structure and understanding around the lunar eclipse at this time, because these are so powerful that I feel like they're going to last like the next 6 months. And so it's always the most potent the first month from the time of the lunar eclipse on. What can we expect?
Yeah, and you can feel it too. And, you know, people who work in hospitals and stuff even say it. And it turns out that the movement of the moon doesn't actually cause the waves by like some type of force of the oceans and things like that, or the effect on water. What happens is it bows the water out on the planet. And so that's how the tides come in and go out from the moon's movement. And so, but in terms of symbolism and actuality and astrology, the moon is the mother, and the mother, if you think of it this way, the mother during this Scorpio season. So Scorpio is about passion, mystery, creation, all of these things, intuitiveness, all of that kind of stuff. If you put a mothering aspect on that, what it is kind of like treating yourself like a child in a sense and saying, what do you really want, my dear? What do you, my child? You know, what is it will make you really happy? That's what this time is really about, because we just came from the Libra, which is about what do you deserve? What is just? What is coming to you, and you know it. Whether you're doing good things, bad things, whatever, you know what's going to happen. So you know what's going to happen. Now we've gotten through that. What do I deserve? Now you can be like, what do I want?
Ah.
And
Wow.
then when we get to Sagittarius, it's how do I get what I want?
Right.
Because that's what Sagittarius is, the horse running and burning and making things happen.
Yeah.
So it's, you know, this whole time of year is about creating what you want, whether it be in career or romance or life in any that's the general thing, you know. And when the moon comes in, especially with an eclipse, it's almost like the mother and the father kind of like, you know, kind of overview of your life and saying to you, what, you know, really, what do you want? You can have it if you want it. If you know what it is, you believe you deserve it, and you have a clear path to get there, you can have exactly what you want. Cool.
Someone here.
Got somebody.
Now you've talked
I love
about
it when people stop.
Scorpio. She also wanted to know about the Pisces. You mentioned about the Scorpio.
Oh, the combo. Terry says, how about a
Yeah.
Scorpio and Pisces together, the two water signs?
Yeah, well, that's another thing. They understand the emotional ups and downs of each other. They understand the profound sensitivity that they each have. And so they can get together very easily. What happens, though, is think of two different roller coasters. One is up at the top when the other one is at the bottom, and one's going through the tunnel while the other one's flipping around. That's a Scorpio and Pisces, because they're never on the same emotional ride. And so it can become, are you saying that to hurt me? Are you trying to hurt me because you know how sensitive I am? So on and so forth. And it becomes and can grow. So if there's not an awareness of that need for understanding, for emotions and that kind of thing without hurting each other, it can be very volatile. But it's very great sexually, really good sexually. Like two water signs in bed is like I don't know, like a bomb exploding. Like a waterfall, like Niagara Falls. like a bomb exploding on Niagara Falls. That's what it is. So, yeah, but it can be a good thing. And the Scorpio will retreat from the Pisces. The Pisces won't retreat from the Scorpio. Pisces are like a no bullshit kind of no beating around the bush. And the Scorpio is kind of like, oh, you're not happy with me, then I'm going to retreat and get into my cave. And if you get too close, I will sting your ass.
That's been my experience with all of the Scorpios in my life is they
Yeah,
retreat in some really big ways. And
yeah.
when the retreating happens, you're kind of like, oh boy, what's to come? Like if a
Mhm.
Scorpio retreats, you need to be on the defensive. Like you definitely
If
need
it's
to be
because of you,
prepared.
yeah, definitely.
Yeah, like be
Yeah,
prepared. Go in saying, how can we resolve this? I know I screwed up. How can we resolve
yeah,
this? Because anything less than that, yeah, you're
yeah.
pooched. You're pooched.
Yeah, if you're the cause of the retreat of a Scorpio, then you're in for, and you'll never get rid of that, their desire to get even, basically.
Yeah.
But Scorpios will occasionally just retreat and end up missing for 3 days. They don't call anybody, nobody knows where they are. And people who love them and care about them understand that they need that time.
Yeah.
Because even imagine two scorpions in the desert, like they're not touchy feely. They're not cuddly animals. They're like, I'll be in my cave, you'll be in your
Right
cave.
here.
Every
Can you hear
once in a
me?
while, we'll come over and we'll hit our tongues together or something, and
Confab.
then back. Yeah.
Exactly. We'll have a
Don't get too close.
confab with our, you have your dance space and I'll have my dance space, and that's how we're working it.
Exactly. Yeah.
That's funny. And yet Scorpios are so passionate. They're so passionate and loving and physical, but
Yeah.
maybe not with two Scorpios together. I hadn't thought about that. Whew.
Yeah, whenever that can become really hard because then they end up hurting each other and not realizing it, end up doing things that make the other one feel sensitive about something, and then then it just gets more and more and more, and it grows, and they never talk about it because they keep retreating, and that's. But as we know, the charts depend. So you could be who doesn't have a lot of other things, or you have a lot of Earth in your chart. We got somebody else stopping by. It's like Pee Wee's Playhouse over here. I love it.
Hey, happy birthday, girl. So great to see you.
Oh my
Let's
God! Awesome.
let's go ahead and give her a horoscope and a Carter guidance, wherever it steers you, Stacy.
Yeah, well,
Cool. You want to start, Stacey?
I'm definitely going to do card guidance, and what I'm thinking in my head is, Dwayne, you said it so perfectly. Scorpio season is what do I want? So Renata,
Mhm.
I'm going to just see what it is that you want for this fabulous year, this new
Yeah.
solar year, your trip around the sun, and see what you need to know around that. Oh, I love this. So the Wheel of Fortune. Oh, and you got two cards
Oh,
actually.
wow.
Okay,
That's
so
awesome.
I'm going to talk about the Wheel of Fortune first. So the Wheel of Fortune is all about, I want to say to you, it's about what you want is you want to be able to pursue your wildest desires and dreams without risk. And what I want
Yeah.
to say to you is you want to shift how you perceive risk. So calculated risk is actually a really good thing. You can't grow and you can't get anywhere unless you are prepared to a certain extent take a little bit of a risk. Opening your front door in the morning, there's risk associated with that. We just downplay a lot of that, or we don't think about those things, but then we get, hyper focused on fear-based stuff, or what society says, oh, dun, 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 you've got to look out for this and you've got to look out for that. What I want to say to you is you can absolutely have what it is that you're seeking. This also is about divine order. I feel like for you, you are seeking, to have your desires met, and you're seeking it to happen in your time. And divine order is saying, well, we need to come in because you actually want it to happen on our time rather than your time, because our time means you get the whole enchilada. You get everything that you want, not just, picking and choosing. I want a little bit of this here and a little bit of that there. The universe is saying you can have it all, but you've got to be willing to take the risk. So what do you need to do in this time, in this window of time, to give yourself permission to be calculated about your risk. What do you need to, I want to say, research, get comfortable with in terms of, okay, here's my goal, here's my desire, here's what I absolutely want. Here are 3 different paths to getting there. And what are the risks associated with those paths? And then how can I get comfortable with those risks? Where is my boundary that says absolutely that's too big of a risk, I'm not going there? So then you can eliminate one of those paths and focus on where you want to go. So I feel like the Wheel of Fortune is coming in to help you. It's also very much about luck, and so I feel that this is a lucky time for you. So don't settle for anything less than exactly what it is that you want, knowing that I'm going to take a calculated risk to move forward in that, and then the universe is going to provide, because the universe is comfortable with what I've brought to the table. And the second card that came out is actually the Justice card, and I think this is so funny because we were just talking about justice, Libra season, and so I feel like for you it's understanding that I can have all of the things that I want to have. I am, to speak to what Dwayne said, I am deserving of everything that I desire. And I need to be truthful and completely honest with myself first, and then completely truthful and honest with those around me that have, I want to say, have the ability to participate in me getting what it is that I desire. It's all about collaboration. And this year, this new year coming up, 2024, so many things are going to be about collabing. So perhaps that calculated risk that you're working towards is learning to trust, learning to ask for what you need from somebody else, and trusting that they're going to reciprocate. They're going to be able to assist you. It's not that you're giving away your power and saying you have to give this to me. It's saying, here's what I want, here's what I've worked out, and here's what I'm willing to do for it. But I need a little assistance in this area. Can you help? So justice is coming through to say, so get clear on your truth and collaborate. Don't be afraid to ask for help.
Yeah, that sounds right in line with how I'm feeling about this. And I feel like for Scorpio, sometimes the biggest issue can be, what do I want? Like figuring out what that is so that they can make that plan and move forward. And so I'm looking now at the moon and its movement through November. And on the 11th, it enters Scorpio. So for the Scorpio, during the time of Scorpio, when the moon enters Scorpio, that is when you can make your goal of, between now and the 11th, let me really put everything on the table. If that means getting in a bathtub with a glass of wine or whatever it is that's going to take you to that place to really feel, because as a Scorpio, you have to feel what's right for you. You can't make it in your mind. You can't have somebody draw a graph. It has to be from your feelings. And literally sitting in a tub of water is probably your best bet for actually getting those vibrations of what really is going to make you happy in your life and understanding what it is. So take from now till the 11th and really focus on what it is you want, because after that point, all you have to do is really put it into motion. Like Stacy said, get that plan, get 3 paths, figure out how you're going to do it, and then start doing it. And then it'll get a lot easier once we get into the 21st of November, when we hit Sagittarius and things are all about adventure and production and creation. And then all of the stuff that you needed to do during Scorpio is done, and you're just moving forward. So I really think, and so your power colors as a Scorpio are red and black. So wearing red and black can bring you power as well. Like I said earlier, you may need to take some time, and the people that care about you know that if you don't call them for 2 or 3 days and you're not missing, you're not going to end up on forensic files. It's because you need to just lay back with a book and have some wine or something, have sex a lot, Scorpios are ruled by the genitals. They're ruled by the genital area. And so that is both their weakest and strongest point. Scorpios
Shit,
are the
Scorpios
most...
aren't the only ones that are ruled by the genitals. I'm just telling you know that,
Yeah,
right?
no, but that's your part of your body. And it's the weakest and strongest point. Scorpios in astrology are the most susceptible to STDs, but the least likely to get them because they're very choosy about who they have sex with. So, but they are very susceptible to things like that. So it's really interesting how that works. And then on another level, Scorpios, to really, if you want to make your environment the best it can be, one, baths are important. Two, make sure that there's not crazy noises happening randomly outside of your house. That's for any water sign. If you live near a train station and you hear a constant, thing, even if it's regular, it can shake your entire being. Whereas an earth sign, it doesn't matter. You could ring bells outside. They're not going to budge. They're going to be fine. Fire sign will listen to the sound and make something out of it and do, like, I have to do artwork that looks like the sound or whatever. And then an air sign will want to go and talk to the people who make the sound and say, who's that over there? And how do I connect with them? And how do I communicate with them? So the water signs, you don't need random sounds, loud things that will shake your vibration. You need calm and cool and collected. So I hope that gives you some insight. And happy birthday, Renata.
Yeah. Happy birthday. That's awesome. I love that.
Me too. I love when we have birthdays on here.
Aw, love the messages and the birthday divine gift through you both. Oh, you are so welcome, Renata. So nice.
Thank you. We have Ragu.
It's coming through. Ragu. Oh, yeah, that's right, Ragu.
Big Ragu.
Pisces. Yeah, we're absolutely going to pull a card for you.
He was trying to join us live, but I don't think the connection was working, so I had him put it in the comments. So he was going to come on live. So thank you for that, Ragu.
Thank you for that, John.
Ragu, this is talking about what you want and sort of some energy, for this season and how to sort of make that happen. Oh, interesting. So you got 7 of Cups. So 7 of Cups, I feel like when you're talking about your desires, what it is that you want and trying to figure out what that looks like for you, it's no surprise that you've pulled a water card. So this is connected to the element of water, and it is all about choice. I have so many options in front of me, so many options at my fingertips. And I want to say to you, it is not a situation where you have to choose one out of the 7 and that's the only one that you get. I feel like for you, the goal in terms of your desires is I want all of the things in the cup. I don't want to have to dismiss any of them. I want all of them. And some of them are better than others, in terms of how we judge them. But you're saying, no, I want all of them, because even if, this particular old skeleton key looks like it's not going to do anything for me, I'd rather have the butterfly. When you're doing your alchemy this month, when you're alchemizing what's coming up and coming through along your path, that key may come up as something that you get to sort of transmute or transmogrify, or you get to combine it with something else in one of these other cups to get something that is exactly what you're looking for. So I feel like for you this month, it's really giving yourself permission to say, yeah, I can have all of these things. It's not either or, it's both and. And it's also recognizing, okay, what do I need to do? How do I need to prepare myself to be able to work with all of these cups? Make a list. What are the priorities? Number 1, this first cup is the cup that I need because it's foundational. It's going to, it's the bed. It's the ground. It's the earth. It's the land. And I'm going to build on that land, but I have to start with the land first. So for you, I feel like this month is really about prioritizing what your desires are, what your wants are. Because when you have a list, a prioritized list, it helps you then to center and focus yourself. And that's where I feel sometimes you get scattered, is in the focus. You can be singularly focused on one particular thing, but at the cost of all these other things that actually need your attention. So this is inviting you to say, yeah, you can have all of it, but prioritize where your energy goes. Because if you don't know how to really work with your energy, then you're not actually manifesting what it is that you want. It just continues to be a want. And we want to take that want and have it become a thing, have it become reality, that manifested tangibility coming into the mix. I hope that makes some sense. Dwayne, hopefully you can provide a little more insight and guidance into what that is. But Seven of Cups is definitely his card today.
Yeah,
And
and that's
Chase,
again all about emotion. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
no, you're fine, Dwayne. Chase Face, it's not a rerun. The title on one of the streams is wrong. This is live, Chase. So this is live in this moment.
So yeah, no, it's funny because the Seven of Cups is all about emotion and feeling. Cups is all about emotion, and so again, this is a Pisces who's a water sign, just like the Scorpio. So it's very similar. My reading would be very similar in a lot of ways. The things that I said about Scorpio are still there, except the Pisces has an intuition that brings them to something quicker, because if they're able to really connect with the feelings, with their emotions. The Scorpio kind of has a hard time finding the outcome. The Pisces knows, like, they have intuition, they're artistically connected, they're connected to colors. Pisces actually are affected viscerally by colors. A lot of Pisces love, if you ask them what their favorite artwork is, they'll love like this folk art with lots of bright colors, with people with baskets on their heads walking next to the Caribbean and palm trees and stuff. And that's why if I have a Pisces in my life and I have to get them something, I usually get them something colorful, something that reminds them of the water or the ocean or an island or something of that nature. So Pisces also rules the colors blue and green, the colors of water. So that can be a power color for Pisces. Um, they don't like to beat around the bush. They don't like to pussyfoot around things. They love to be like really on point with how they're feeling and what they're talking, and they're really good with feelings and that kind of thing. They can tend to be just like any Pisces or any water sign. They could end up drinking too much at times and having a bad reaction, maybe becoming frustrated or angry or whatever. And so at times in most water signs' lives, unless they just abstain completely, they do have to at some point figure out, usually when they're in their 20s and 30s, like figure out how to gain control of that. And sometimes, as we know, not everybody does gain control of it. But for the most part, it is all about, again, and since we're in Pisces, so you are a native water sign in your native place right now until the 21st. And so the best thing you can do is to really focus on what are the feelings that are coming through me, almost like a conduit. If it has to do with your family, if it's about buying a new car, if it's getting a new job, whatever that is, put that in the top of your perspective and allow the feelings to filter through. And when that happens, you'll get a hit, usually in the gut. Your gut will tell you that that's what you are needing to do. So is it, should I buy the car? Should I not? Should I invest in the house? Should I rent? Any of these things can be dealt with for a Pisces by simply putting it at the top of their perspective and allowing the energy to kind of like filter through it and hit their gut. That's the best advice that I could give to a Pisces. And to also think about what you want to say before you say it, because you don't like to beat around the bushes. So sometimes things come out that, of course, you're just telling the truth, but some people can take it the wrong way. And you know how it feels to have your feelings hurt. Yet sometimes it's easy for you to hurt other people's feelings without even knowing it. So just keep that in mind. Overall, I think it's a great time for any water sign, Pisces, Cancer, or Scorpio. Get your priorities in order, decide how to get what you want. And again, when we get into that Sagittarius part of the year, which is November 21st, moving forward, that's when everything kind of starts taking and going on its own. Like you're starting up a chainsaw, you pull it, and then it finally takes over and goes. That's what happens when we get into Sagittarius. So I hope that was fun and good information for you. Pisces. Yeah, and Rose Quartz said, that's why I love Pisces fashion, always so vibrant and eccentric. It's true.
We've
Speaking of vibrant and
oh,
eccentric, I think Elizabeth Taylor's was a Pisces.
Oh, that makes sense. Yeah.
Mhm.
I always loved her style of dress and the colors she wore, and she had that gorgeous dramatic flair. I
Yeah,
love her. Absolutely. And of
and her
course the
purple eyes,
yeah,
you know.
best part.
Bef-
So
Before we have our guest come on, Sam, who's going to talk about, Sam is making a tour around all of my shows,
ah,
promoting some things and talking and kind of like making it relevant to the topic. But before we go, we've got one more person that we're going to do. Chase Fez says, thank you. Loving you guys. I'm in Aries and would love some divine guidance. So let's give him some
ooh,
guidance and hit him with
Awesome. Ooh, okay. So Chase Face, I literally just started shuffling and like a whole stack of cards flipped out. So I'm going to take the top one because when it's a whole stack, it's not we don't need all the cards, but it was the first one that I saw. And what I'm seeing for you when you're talking about your wants, we've got 5 of Wands. 5 of Wands is a card of focus, scattered energies. It's also a card of training. It's really that energy of I'm learning how to not take the world so personally. So I don't know what's going on in your world right now, but I feel like this month, part of your exploration of what it is that you want, I feel that it's really about um, being less sensitive. Not, I'm not saying less sensitive in terms of the psychic ability. Being less sensitive to others' reactions and responses towards you. I feel like you're doing some internal boundary work, energetic boundary work, where you're stepping up and you're saying, you know what? A crisis on your part does not necessarily constitute a crisis on my part. I'm no longer going to jump through everybody's hoops. I'm going to really sort of see what comes at me and be discerning about whether or not I'm going to bring that into my space. I'm going to bring a little more focus to what's mine versus what isn't mine. So your wants, I feel, are less on that material or that physical realm during this particular season, this Scorpio season, and it's more towards strengthening and bolstering your inner environment. And I feel like there have been a couple of situations that have popped up for you. And of course, you're in Aries, so that Aries energy, you're very independent. You tend to not take on stuff. You tend to be kind of okay, well, you go do you, and I'm going to do me. But I feel like with certain, and I'm seeing the number 2, so with 2 particular relationships in your life, close relationships, you've kind of lost. You're a little wayward. You've lost your way with these individuals because there's been some, I want to say, cross pollination. There's been some drifting over of the boundaries over the years that now suddenly you're kind of like, okay, where do I end and another person begin? So I feel like for you, it's putting focus on what is mine to heal, fix, or otherwise deal with. What is mine that is my responsibility, and what is someone else's that's being projected onto me. So pay attention to projections, because that's where you want to put your focus is, oh, this is a projection onto me. Great. I know because it's a projection that's onto me, it's not mine. I don't have to do anything with it other than send it back with love. And now I'm clear on, okay, I don't have to take that personal. I don't have to be sensitive about what that person said, what that person thought, because I feel like for you, you often can get into that. And people will sometimes take advantage of that with you, where they will say things, they'll bring things up because whether they're cognizant of it or not, whether it's a subconscious or a conscious thing, there's a part of them that knows that you're going to go within and say, okay, well, what part am I playing and how could I have done that better? And well, maybe I need to figure out how to fix all this stuff. And this card is saying, no, that's not what we're doing now. We are streamlining our focus. We're really getting clear on what is mine and what is not. So I don't know if that makes any sense to you at all or not. That's just what's coming through. But I love this card for you. You don't have to be scattered. You certainly don't have to be scattered internally. This is a month, and the energies of this season are going to support you in getting really to the truth of things so that you can then establish or reestablish those energetic boundaries and allow those energetic boundaries to support you as you're moving forward. So you're carrying less baggage. Hope that makes some sense.
I am so glad that you ended with energy, because what I want to talk about is a lot of the things we do, whether when I was a counselor, Stacy's sidekick, Dwayne, horoscopes and readings, is energy also plays a lot into how we respond, react, and guide people. And can we all agree that one of the biggest things that can affect your energy is money and
Oh,
finances?
sure.
Awesome.
Yeah,
And that's
how
what our
our perspective on it, how we feel about money definitely affects where we're at and our attitudes towards it and how we bring it on and bring it into our lives.
And money can affect
awesome.
your energy, and energy can affect your money.
That's what
100%.
I'm saying. Yeah, yeah, both ways. And so our guest today, Sam, the wonderful Sam, is
Hello.
on here today. And Sam, before we get started, the funniest thing was before we came on, Stacy did a reading for me. And what was the card you pulled, Stacy?
Four of Pentacles, I think.
She just randomly decided to pull a card for me, and she said, "You're going to be meeting with someone and making some decisions based." I forgot what it was word for word, but basically, you're going to be making some important decisions with collaborating with someone. Uh, I'm sure it's someone you trust, but she was just giving me pointers, and I was laughing because we have that meeting tomorrow with you and some other people. And
Me too.
so it's just, she makes it very eerie when she does that to me.
That is
It was scary today because, like, I don't normally pull cards for you, and something just told me that I had to pull that card. So that's so bizarre.
By the
But nice
way,
to meet you, Sam. Nice to meet
you
you.
as well. You as well. It's great to be here. Thank you for having me on. I love the idea. You know, it's interesting. When I first heard the topic, it reminded me of I'm a kind of a history nerd. You guys, everyone knows Kennedy, right?
Yeah, for
Yeah,
sure.
his wife was a huge into sign reading, astrological reading, and they would actually postpone events, not do. They cancel dinner parties. They would have dinner parties because of her readings of the star. I think it was the stars. Yeah, yeah, the stars, I believe. But
You're talking
pretty,
about Jackie Onassis, right?
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, pretty interesting. Pretty interesting.
She was a Leo and he was a Gemini.
Yeah, yeah.
well,
So it was interesting. Like, huh, I didn't know that. Things you don't know, and just kind of behind the scenes everything.
well,
But
she missed the
Also,
whole car reading.
What's that?
that's
Well, she missed the old "let's not take a ride in the car today"
Oh,
one. Not to make that funny, but you know,
I was like, what did I just what did I just miss? Okay, gotcha. Yeah. I know I always joke psychic with a bad sense of timing when it comes to my own world and in my own life. But sometimes, we're too close to it in our
yeah.
own lives to be able to apply it, which is why we need to find trusted people that we can get that information on. Anyway, continue.
Yeah, no, that's very true, and that kind of goes to another point of detaching. I feel like even professionals, it's hard to do anything about yourself because you're emotionally attached, and it's very easy. That's why business hire business consultants. That's why you hire financial advisors. That's why you hire, other doctors hire other doctors sometimes, because you're attached to yourself. You're like, oh, I know better than this and this and that, and it's really interesting. But glad to be here. Love the topic.
And when is
So
your son
Yeah, I was
birthday,
just gonna
Sam?
say,
I'm a
what is
Scorpio, so you guys
Oh
won't like me.
no, it's perfect for the topic and the timing today.
Yeah.
That's great.
And all my best friends are Scorpios because I'm a
Really?
Sagittarius and I tell the truth, and Scorpios love truth tellers. They hate when people lie. So,
Yeah, we don't really stand for BS too well. That's why I like numbers. Numbers don't lie. So they tell a different story. You can't. I mean, I guess you could manipulate numbers, but they generally don't lie. So that's
Yeah.
might be a
Well, it's
coincidence or
universal
maybe it's
language,
fate.
right? Universal
well,
language.
that's
So what do
that's a
you
Leo perception, actually.
What was the question?
do, Leonie? I was just going to say, what do you do, Sam?
Yeah, no, so the Scorpio eyes. So I'm a financial advisor, and so what we do is we do holistic financial planning and also asset management. So again, kind of going to the detaching, we essentially help people detach from their lives, take a look at their finances, improve their financial situation, and help them make money. Overall, that's really the goal. So you could do things you want to do, whether that's yoga, you want to spend time with your family, you want to walk the dogs, you want to go look at the stars, whatever you may want to do, that takes time. That's what we help you people achieve.
That's fantastic. Talk about the holistic piece a little bit more, because that word, that's a buzzword for me. I'm like, as soon as
Yeah.
something's holistic, I'm like, okay, I'm in. I want to know more.
Oh, yeah. Well, I like to equate it to medicine and other things. We kind of had a tendency in the past to just throw. And I was a medic in the military, so I kind of refer to medicine. We have a tendency to just throw medicine or throw pills at problems to try and solve the issue. I'm sure, or a lot of research is saying, and just kind of common sense is, maybe let's look at lifestyle first and try and change that before we just throw stopgaps, and medication and other things. Same thing in finances. We can give you the best portfolio, we could make you the most amount of money. You can make it a million, 2 million, $5 million. But if your personal finances are not in order, you could blow it all. And you might be like, oh no, that would never happen. Look at athletes. A lot of athletes, they stop playing and they're bankrupt within 5, 10 years. Now a lot of them are successful too, but there's a lot more than there should be run out of money.
Disproportionate amount. Yes.
Yeah, and lottery winners, um, really high income earners. I know a lot of like doctors, attorneys who make good money, but th- they're not. They're how do I word it? They make good money, but you wouldn't call them wealthy.
Right.
There's
They lost.
and me and Sam have talked about it. You rarely hear billionaire gone broke, but you hear millionaire gone broke a lot of times because a lot of millionaires live like normal people, paycheck to paycheck.
Yeah,
And it's like, which is crazy. You make $2 million a year, you don't need a $5 million house. It doesn't make any sense. And one of the things, I only have people come on to promote things that I actually use. So it's not one of these things where we have a random guest. Uh,
promote. We're educating, Keone.
yeah,
Get it
I
right.
may. Hey, it's promote for me, but educate as well because I don't promote anything that's not educational. So if they know me, they get me. Um, Greg, who
Gemini.
couldn't be on at the moment, connected me with Sam, and I've been having such a great time being educated by him and working with him over the last 4 months. I've learned more in 4 months working with him than I've learned in the last 20 years.
Mm.
And the good thing that I always talk about is how they will break it down for you. You know, a lot of times when you talk to people about your finance, they say a lot of things and a lot of words that you have to look up, right? If I need him to break it down to me as if I was 7 years old, he will break it down to me as if I was 7 years old. So that's another beautiful thing about working with Sam.
Oh, I
So,
appreciate it.
Sam, I want to ask you a question that is
Yeah,
going to kind of
wrap it
blend
all together.
all
Yeah,
of what we're here chatting about today. So, and Dwayne, you probably have a lot of clients who reach out to you because they want to know about what do I need to expect in terms of money, and how do I need to navigate the next few months with my transits and things of that
Yeah.
nature. Um, Sam, how do you approach? Because a lot of people are going to come to you, and I'm going to speak just sort of from a solopreneur perspective here. A
hmm
lot of people are going to sort of come to you and say, I've got this business, and my clients, if I'm going to refer you, a lot of my clients are looking to open spiritually based businesses, heart based businesses, and they're going to look at it and they're going to come at it with their own money blockages, their own financial blockages around that. How
hmm
do you handle blockages? Because a blockage is just stuck energy,
hmm
but it's connected, as you said, detached, right? We are very attached to our money, and we're
hmm
attached more so to the stories that we that we've been told or that we've held beliefs to around money and our own ability to make money. And speaking from a solopreneur perspective, who is someone who does sort of the healing arts in the spiritual realm, there's this stigma out there that we're not allowed to make money using our gifts. And so there's a lot of breaking out and breaking through of that. So I guess kind of a loaded sort of topic, but
Hmm.
how would you approach? Do you have a more intuitive approach? Do you have more of a structured approach? You mentioned the holistic piece. I'm
Hmm.
curious about that because I
Yeah.
know so many of my clients are dealing with those kinds of financial blockages. How would you help someone through that and
So,
get that foundation?
so just so I understand, when you say financial blockages, you're referring to like going and like changing from their career to pursuing what they love, if I may, and then there's a money issue to doing that, or more so of providing value to people and and having an issue of charging people.
Well, it can be both of those things,
Okay.
but I would say to you, it's from my languaging. What
Mm-hmm.
I would use is a lot of people tell stories to
Mm-hmm.
themselves about what they're worth, what
Yeah.
they're valued, and they have fear around money.
Mm-hmm.
And fear sometimes can be I don't have enough,
Mm-hmm.
scarcity. Fear can be I don't deserve to
Yeah.
earn. Who am I
Mm-hmm.
to want $1 million? So it's kind of the limiting beliefs that plague all of us on that
Mm-hmm.
sort of that energetic level. And sometimes, and very much it's a subconscious thing with a lot
Yeah.
of people. So I'm just curious about your process with that.
Yeah, so a couple approaches, there's a logical approach and the behavioral approach. The logical approach is, we'll start with that, and I know that's probably not what you guys want to hear, but you're worth what people are willing to pay you. Very being in finances, I'm very logical, but I also understand the emotional side. So, from a logical perspective, if people are willing to pay you for a service, you provide value because ultimately that's really what drives the entire economy. Is hey, you have something that I want, that you have something that I want. It's value to me, so I'm going to exchange value in the shape of money to attain your value. That's kind of how the whole world developed, going back to ancient Mesopotamia when we started farming. Hey, I have a surplus of corn, you have wheat, let's trade. There's value there. So it's tough. You have to detach, and I say that because I was in the same boat where when I first started my practice, I had an issue charging people a fair amount for like financial planning services, and I still struggle with this. And I was way undercharging for the time I was putting in, the value I was providing. But in my mind, I was like, "Oh, am I providing enough? I'm newer at this. I don't have all the cool software that someone at like at the big firms might have." Um, and then as you kind of do it more, you realize and you see your impact. And I think the biggest thing that helped me break out was seeing the impact. So that's okay. You could start thinking that way, but then you have to see how you impact other people's lives. And you could use that as a gauge. Hey, like, I helped so and so, and now their life improved exponentially, whether it's just happy, overall happiness, they're more happy. Maybe they have more free time. Maybe, they're just in a better mood, overall, whatever that gauge may be, like, oh, there's value there. So you have to, it's not like a quick overnight fix, but it's a very gradual process. Kind of like going to the gym, I would say it's a muscle that you have to train, and you have to realize that you are worth something. You do provide value. I mean, we all need money to live.
Hmm.
We all have dreams, hopes, and wants and desires. Um, now when it comes to having a surplus of money, I'll give you the argument, I don't deserve to have $1 million. Okay, let's say you feel that way. But what if you can get $1 million and you could put that money to good use, whether that's a charity, you could start a foundation, you could provide scholarships to underprivileged kids, you can do whatever. There's a lot of good that money can be used for. So I challenge everybody to not to change reframe their mindset to thinking that if I get money, I have to spend it on myself. That's not true. You could spend it on whatever, obviously take care of yourself. If you want that, the steak dinner, and you have the money, you earned it, you deserve it. Um, if you feel like you have a surplus, you can always donate it. You can start charities. There's a lot of good you can do in the world with money, a lot.
Isn't there also now? There's been a lot of stuff on TikTok recently about
I know.
majorly wealthy families, such as the Rothschilds,
Yeah.
the Astors, and that basically what they did was that they took their wealth, they created trusts, and then
Hmm.
they lived off of the trusts and the life insurances, borrowed from the life insurance, and then when they die, their life insurance pays back the trust, and that's how they create generational wealth. Is that still a thing, or was that just because it was the early 1800s and people could do that kind of thing? Like, I'm confused about that.
How much time do you have?
That's part two.
That's the real question. So I'm gonna dive into this. This is a great question. I love this. So let's look at why those families, like the Vanderbilts,
The
everyone,
Rothschild.
Rothschilds,
Yeah.
yeah, everyone, they they were entrepreneurs. That's how they started. That's their roots, and they became extremely wealthy, extremely wealthy. And today we see that with Bill Gates. We see that with Jeff Bezos, Elon Musk, and a lot of these individuals are entrepreneurs in some aspect. They start a company, and that company explodes. And again, it goes back to that value proposition before. Um, but in regards to your question about being back in the day, that's not just because of the 1800s. You can still do that today. So you can actually do what's called a generational trust. Pretty cool.
Hmm.
I'm not an attorney, by the way. I'm licensed. I'm a licensed financial advisor, but I'm not an attorney. So I can't administer trust, but we do planning on trust, and this kind of goes into holistic financial planning. This is an aspect of it. Um, so you can have what's called a generational trust. And a trust, to dumb it down in very simple terms, essentially you take your assets, you give it to a someone who manages the assets, and there's a document, and they're held to this document that you want to put down saying, hey, you use this money for this, this, and this. And essentially what this person does, they're going to invest the assets, and they're going to produce income for individual A, and then once some set period of time, the remainder goes to individual B. That's a traditional trust. Now what they have now is they call it generational trust, where you can, and this is a newer thing, but this goes back to medieval times with land. I mean, you see it with families, like the king. Who's the new king? The king's son. So that's really how trusts stem back. Where they stem from is back in medieval times with land and titles and things of that nature. Um, but so what happens is you could do it structural trust. So the income goes to individual A, and then individual B, and then individual C. And I forget the cap, but I think it's 125 years you can keep that alive for, maybe longer. It depends on every state's different. So every state's got their own laws. Um,
Pretty well
but
said.
you can
Sam.
certainly do that. The issue is you need assets. Now, typically, what happens is when you said life insurance, and if I'm boring you guys, let me know.
No, 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 Sam. It's
I'm a
funny.
nerd.
Can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
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 Funny. I texted Dwayne 10 minutes ago to wrap it up, and then he asked the most long-winded question. The question
uh,
that
Could you
should have
tell us the
taken an
history of
hour.
finance?
yeah, no, I'm a nerd for this
No.
stuff. You
So what
can't
we're
tell.
gonna do is, Sam, go ahead and tell them about the event that you have coming up. We'll also put it in the description to help those out. We had some questions about someone trying to sell a house, so this
Okay.
kind of ties into because
Yeah.
you're it's dealing with real estate investment. Go ahead.
Yeah. So let me wrap up the question really quick. So you can use life insurance to estate. What they do is it's called an islet. And what happens is there's things called estate taxes when you die. I'm making this fast. You pay a crazy estate tax. I think it's 40% is the estate tax
Hmm.
currently. But there's a cap. The cap is auctions up to right now for single. It's like 12 point something million. So it's a big number. For married, it's like 24, 25 million. Anything over that, subject to estate tax for federally, and then sometimes state have their own estate tax. What wealthy families do, and what is good financial planning, good holistic financial planning, is you get life insurance and you structure it so you make the death benefit pay off the estate tax. So if you're worth $500 million, that, your kids or your heirs who are even are going to get a nice fat tax bill when you pass away, unfortunately. So they get life insurance to pay that tax bill, because usually with those billionaires, their assets are in very illiquid, real estate companies. They can't just go and take a $1 billion loan from the bank, from the checking account. So hope that answers your question. We are doing a real estate masterclass and investing masterclass November 1st. I'm going to give Keone the link, but feel free to sign up for that. It's going to be more real estate focused, but also investing focused as well. So I encourage you guys to all attend, ask questions. We'll be answering questions, doing all that fun stuff. And I heard there's a question, Keone, about real estate.
No, no, no. I was telling you to put that out there so
Oh,
that
okay.
could.
Yeah.
It's not quite the question that we answer during this type of show, but it could help
We could answer it.
give
I mean,
them.
if you guys want to. You're the
Yeah,
host. I
we
don't
don't,
want to take over.
we don't answer those types of questions that were answered, but that's what Sam has coming up on November 1st. We have put the link in the chat. It would also be in the description. Stacy, what do you have coming up?
Oh goodness, what do I have coming up? We're getting ready to head into year in preview season. This is an annual reading that I do. I only do it between December 1st and January 31st. It's one of my most popular limited service offerings, and it's your year in preview. So you get to book the reading. It's a 60-minute session with me. I use tarot cards, and I pull a card for each month and tell you what's coming up for you in 2024. And this year I also have your year in transformation, which is an even deeper dive and involves a channeling from your angels and guides, to tell you what's going on, a card pull, card reading to go into that meditation, reflective questions, affirmations. It's just a full-on deep dive. So if you really are wanting a lot of clarity and guidance about your path for 2024, keep your eyes peeled. We're going to be going live with that sometime next month. So I'm just planting the seed, putting a bug in your ears for now. Thank you. What's going on in your world, Dwayne?
And then send us out.
What's that?
I said, go ahead and tell us what's going on in your world and send us out.
Sure. Well, this weekend, Friday, I'm going to be at Peddler's Village in New Hope, Pennsylvania, doing readings for Halloween. Sunday, I'll be DJing at the same place for the big Halloween party during the day for the young people. And then Sunday, I'll be in Cleveland, Ohio, doing readings at a place called Sanity between 12 and 4. So that's my reading schedule. I have stand-up comedy coming up for the rest of the year and all kinds of stuff at Dwayne Live. Also, my astrological fragrances are going to come out next month from Lavender Rose. So we've got that going on, and I'm working on getting all that stuff up on the site so you can buy it on my site and all that kind of stuff. So, yeah, it's going to be an exciting 2 months.
Love it.
You're supposed
thank
to
you
whole
so
keep.
much.
Yeah, there you go. Come on.
I don't know. You're always fucking talking. What the hell what am I? I'm just sitting here looking pretty. I'm a model. What can I say?
Please subscribe,
Thank
click
you,
the
guys.
bell. That's what I'm going to say. That's how we're wrapping it up.
Thank you, and go fuck yourselves.